Just to give you a little bit of feedback too, I've been practicing graphic design for the last 25 years. My specialty is corporate identity and branding, and over the 25 years I worked with clients like Wolfgang Puck, Westwood Studios, Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut, some pretty big heavyweights. And over those, dealing with clients like that, it is crucial through any project or every project is to ask the right question. And in order to do that, you want to look at the scientific method. So how many people in here know what the scientific method is? Kind of like we learned in high school. Matt? What's the scientific method?
It is a method of science.
You're brilliant! There's actually 4 steps. Does anyone know what the 4 steps to the scientific method is? Or are? Without Googling it. I know you guys are really good at Google. Go ahead, Matt. Okay, hypothesis. So what is that? What's a hypothesis? An idea. Okay, so you have this idea on something. And then when you have an hypothesis, what's the second step? So you have this idea, this notion. Now what do you have to do with the notion? Research and development. So R&D. Okay? Now there's some scientific methods that go up to 6 to 12 steps, but most of them are majority are 4 steps. So you have a notion, you do some research and development, then what? Experiment, test it, correct. All right, so you want to test. You want to test what? What are we testing? Okay, notice a lot of people probably fell asleep in high school. Okay, just so you know, science class does get boring, but you're going to be using this technology all the time as a graphic designer or as a web designer, as a videographer or a photographer. You come up with the notion, you do the research and development on it, you test the notion, and then after you've done the 3rd step of testing it, what happens? What's the last step? Conclusion. Another word for conclusion. Okay. So she said draw a conclusion. But what's another word for that? What's that?
Close.
Close. What else? You guys are thinking way too hard. Don't hurt yourself. Okay. It's an ending. When you have a hypothesis, is you're saying this person's sick. Why are they sick? Research development. What'd you eat? I ate fast food. Where'd you eat your fast food at? I had it at this fast food restaurant. Okay. Did everyone else eat at that fast food? Yeah, 4 of my friends. Are they sick? Yeah, they're sick too. Okay, great. So from that, I'm going to test the conclusion that you all ate at the same place and probably got food poisoning and you're all throwing up, right? Okay, great. I want you to drink a whole bunch of water and see if that helps hydrate you, and then probably put some other food in you so you don't get sick or try to get out of your system. So basically the conclusion that I'm drawing, or the closing that I'm drawing from all this information, is that you got food poisoning from this fast food restaurant. 4-step process with everything. Okay? Now, you guys were just presented by ABC. And if we're going to put the scientific methodology to them, what was the hypothesis that you would draw forth from that meeting of meeting the owner and the business development person, Tanya and the gentleman? Mason and Tanya. So what was the hypothesis? What could you draw as a question that you got from their meeting? What are their needs? Updating. Updating what? Product. What's their problem? What's their number one problem right now? Lack of membership. So something happened to their membership. Okay, so they're trying to draw new membership. Now, does their material create new membership? No, does not. You know what creates new membership? How many people in here you have a Twitter account? You're just on your Twitter account. How many people do you have liking your Twitter account? Following you. 330. How do you get to 5,000? You advertise yourself. How many people in here have over 300 followers on Twitter? One. How many do you have? 350. Oh, 350 beat you by 50 people. Okay, he knows 50 more people than you. Okay, my wife has 6,000 followers, naturally organic. Okay, so the reason I'm asking is that how does one person get from 3 to 350 to 6,000? Networking, getting out there. So Tanya and Mason, who's the networking person? Tanya. So she's on the front line. She has to ask all the questions. What happens if she's sick? What happens when she can't make it? Who does it now? Next in line. Who's that? Who's next in line? You didn't ask her that question, did you? So one person doing one job. Okay? You have to work on a legacy program of finding out who's doing what, why they're doing it, how to make it more efficient, so therefore you can have a different conclusion of what their real needs are. Who is always working for them all the time, 24/7, never gets sick? Ever. Never even asked for a pension or a dollar from them. Internet. Called. Twitter, Facebook, all the time. Now, the problem with Twitter and Facebook is someone has to work with both. You have to respond back to questions. So really, technically, no. It doesn't work that way. But what does? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never gripes, never complains, never asks for a single dollar that can work as a salesperson for them. What could that be? No, because advertising, they pay once. If they don't pay again, it's gone. Yep, website. Once they have a website up, it can constantly ask for new membership. How? Automatic emails. People signing in. But how are people going to find about it? Then they have to market themselves. Then they have to advertise themselves. So the website needs to be the salesperson, be her, if you will, or duplicate of her, and sell it quickly and fast.
Question. They said that they can't do anything with their website.
They said they can't do anything with their website. They're incorrect. They're incorrect.
Okay.
Why would they be incorrect on that? They can't do it because it's part of national, right? But what are they doing locally that's not part of national? They're a local affiliation of. They can have a subsidiary site.
Okay. But I believe they said that subsidiary site is being taken care of by national.
Just saying, hear the limitation, break through the limitation. Okay, when we started AIJ Las Vegas, we had to have national compliance. We said, no, we're going to start it up anyways. National compliance will come down later. The reason why you do that is you set up the site anyways, and try to get as close to national as possible without national's permission on it. Unfortunately, you might get slapped down the road, but it needs to do the job. The job is they would not be a group or a company if they didn't have any members. They lose all the members, national's gone. What does national care for? What does national want? They want more members. Well, if you're going to stop the club, national gets nothing. Let me tell you, stop everything, national will say, what can we do for you now? Okay, so you need another vehicle that's going to work in compliance with that. That means you still honor their branding, their code, their ethics, their rules, everything else, but you have a subsidiary for it so it can work as a vehicle. Because guess what National's not providing them? A salesperson. National's not providing a 24-hour service, 7 days a week, 365 days a year website for them. Who's paying for that? Mason is, out of his own pocket. Okay, so we got Mason paying money out of his own business to make this run. The questions you need to ask are, what are our limitations? If National is running this, what kind of limitations do we have? So you can draw a new hypothesis. Okay, here's what I heard in the video. We need a new folder. We need a new brochure. But you can't change the logo because the logo's national. Got it. How many people in here asked for a brand standards guide? How many people know what a brand standards guide? By the way, no hands went up. How many people know a brand standards guide? In your group, but did you discuss it to them? In your group, but did you discuss it to the owners? The people. Okay, because I didn't hear it on the video. Okay, I heard one person's hand go up over here that know what a brand standards guide is, and the rest of you did not. Okay, brand standards guides mean that every corporation, national, international, whatever, has a certain color palette that they choose from, certain fonts they choose from, what you can and cannot do with their logo. Yep.
She said that she was going to give that to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she was, but who asked for it? Did you guys ask for it at the end? Okay, that's weird because the video I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Was that near the ending or something? Because I didn't see that at all. And everyone didn't raise their hand, so that's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked that. Then the brand standards guide. So what were the limitations? She was going to send that to you, right? What were the limitations?
She didn't know.
Okay. Second question. She's on the front line. How long has she been selling memberships? Who asked that question? Why would that question be even relevant?
See how much things she's already done.
Okay? The same issue that you guys are having right now. You don't have years of experience to ask the right questions. You need to know all these questions to ask them. What are my limitations? Do I have printing limitations? No. Other than colors. The budget will come out of his wallet. He said literally himself, it looks awesome, I will pay for it. That opens the floodgate. Really? Okay, good. We're going to do laser etched stainless steel folders with a three-dimensional rendering holograph on the inside that comes up with an audio bite. Watch his jaw go, huh? Hey, if a client opens the door, you got to show him how wide that door can be opened. And then he'll go, wait a minute. Okay? So you need to know your parameters. To know your parameters, you have to ask your questions. If I was to shut off all the lights in the entire building, make it pitch black, and then blindfolded you, and you had no idea and concept, and I put an object, something of value somewhere, and only one person had no blindfold, and they had to direct you to it, you're going to ask a series of questions to find it and get to it. That's how attentive you need to be in the process. You need to ask, 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 ask. And if you don't know what to ask, you need to start coming from, put yourself in their shoes. And we have to understand her dynamics. Her dynamics that we had to find out about her is her problems. What is she up against? Questions like, what's not working with your material right now? Who asked that question? What is not working with your material right now? Put yourselves in the shoes. Every single one of you, sometime or another, got into a relationship. You had a partner at one time. And there's a part of that courtship in the relationship where you find out about each other. And that's where everything comes up. And when you're a designer working for a client, you want to get in relationship with them and pull and extract from it as much of the bones and dirt as you can. Because you got to put yourself in her shoes. He's not doing anything. He's just, here, have some money, honey. And she's like, okay, great. What am I going to do? And she's really good at networking. That's where she's really good. She's really good at communication. And that is key in relationships. Whether they're personal or business, communication is key. And we are communicators. We do it visually and graphically. So, my question is to you is, what is not working? Is it the type? The text? Is it outdated? Does it need to be updated? Who will update it? Do I need to hire a copywriter, or are you going to write it? If I'm going to have visuals, or do you have money for a budget for photography, or am I have to get stock? I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know. I don't know how many images you need. What kind of images would best support what we need here? Here's the main thing. If you're going to use images in this type of collateral pieces, the moment you use the imagery in here, literally, the next day, it's outdated. Now, when you first look at this stuff, if you got this in the mail, seriously, without even reading it, what would you think it is? Junk mail. From what? Something government. What else? You're on the right track. Government. Junk mail. What else? Campaign, political. This looks political. Who in their right minds wants to be part of something political? No one. Even construction workers want nothing to do with it. Why would I want to be a part of it? How many of you have been part of something political? How many? Look around the room. 2? Good job. That's awesome. Most people won't even admit that, so I'm glad that you guys, thank you for your service for doing that. But seriously, most people don't want to because they don't want the opinions to come back in their face. Oh, you voted for so-and-so? Oh my gosh. Oh, you're a Democrat? Oh, you're a Republican? Oh, you're a liberal? Their stuff looks political. But what does it need to look like? Construction! Duh! Have you thought about updating it so it appeals to your market? Construction workers. Here's a big question. How many people of you, honestly, are in the construction field in this room or have been? 1. What'd you do? You were a laborer. So houses, buildings, walls, handyman? Masonry. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So coming from drywall? Okay, so let's look at this. So you guys have some experience in this field. What do you care about in construction? Literally.
Honestly, getting it done.
Getting it done for what happens next. What happens next?
People can move in.
So people can move in.
Sell.
In masonry, what was the most important thing for you? Getting it done for what? Getting the next job. Graphic designers. Once you complete a logo, once you complete an assignment, what do you want next? Okay, it's universal, people. Ask yourself the questions and then ask them. You're in the same shoes. So, the question is, what appeals to the market is what appeals to construction workers. The question is, will being part of your club and organization give me another job? And how will they answer that? From what you learned from them? Huh? Yeah. How? Networking. Yes. Any fundamental club from AIGA to ABC works the same way. It's about networking. When I asked you how many people were part of AIGA, only 1 person raised their hands. When you show up at an AIGA event, you're talking to other design firms. Guess what? When you apply there for an internship or a job, your chances are going to be much higher because you're part of AIGA and you started your networking already. If you didn't start networking, they don't know you yet. It's going on a blind date and you could be a psychopath. It's about relationships. Put yourself in their shoes. A, be observant. Look at the material. What does the material look like? It looks like politics. So it needs to look more construction-like. What appeals to construction workers? What appeals to you? What matters to you right now? Seriously, if I said what matters most about your job right now, no matter what you do, what's the #1 factor about your job right now that's very important to you that you want more of? Unbelievable. Universal, I want more money. Universal. How's ABC going to get me more money? Sorry to be so materialistic about it, but it's the truth. So the question that you need to ask again to, what was Mason's wife's name? Tanya. Okay, hey Tanya, how many members joined the club and actually raised their salary within a year? Do you know that? Oh. How many people asked that question? If I said this right now, that I can guarantee you if you join AIJ and network with AIJ, you will double your salary within 6 months to a year. Would you join? I quadrupled mine. I went from $26,000 a year to 6 figures a year. That's why I'm so adamant about AIGA. My networking went like this. That means more doors open to me. I get to meet more people. Most people are going, oh, you're lucky. You just hang around the right people. Luck is nothing more than a residue of grand design, people. If you want to gain more in life, you want to make more money in life, you have to network. So put that networking there. How many network events do they do a year? They do a couple. They do a golf tournament. They even like looking for ideas. You guys were in construction. Would you want to go to like a glitter ball or a prom? Hell no. Who would? But what if I said we got a party, free dinner, free drinks for the first hour, and a huge opportunity for you to network with the biggest firms in town right now for the next job? Would you go? Sign me up. Free food, free drinks, and network? I'm in. People don't want the prom. They want to get the next job. In this market right now, they want to get the next dollar. Yep.
They said they do poker tournaments like 4 or 5 a year.
If you're broke, would you go? No. If you're broke, you have no money to play poker with, you wouldn't go. That's why most people don't sign up for that. Poker players, that people who go up to poker tournaments, are people who have money to get rid of. They have thousands to drop. But if you're broke, you can't go. That's the mentality. See, he was coming from, Mason was coming from, I have money to waste because I have $1 billion company. He wasn't thinking about average Joe member that's just starting out that needs the next job. What's most important to the next job is an opportunity. CSN right now is having an opportunity on March 25th at their other campus. Does anyone know what it is? On Charleston campus on March 25th for 30 minutes, their business elite class is going to have someone speak. Does anyone know who it is? No one. Great networking opportunity. His name is Dana White. Anyone know that name?
Yeah, Dana White from the fighting.
Yeah, UFC.
Yeah.
Bishop Gorman grad. It's the face of UFC with Lorenzo Fertitta. Hey, you want to network? You want to be there. Because he's going to talk about himself. How cool. It's free. As soon as they fill up the chairs, then people go in the other room and watch the show. Okay, so you need to ask them, what events are they having that will appeal to my market? Does poker appeal to them? No. But events where I can make more money? Yes. They don't have money to hand out. They have jobs, and jobs is money.
That's what time is it? On the 25th?
Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
He's already writing it down. You look it up. Just look at Charleston Campus, Business Elite, Dana White. It'll pop up. Okay? The fact of the matter is, guys, is that literally you have to ask the right questions. And when you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, your creative will come out of that. Because just like the scientific method, through the research and development, you can test. But in testing for the design, here's where you meet the client. Here's where you get to know them. And this is where you design. And then this is the end for the next job. Once designers come up with a logo, the next thing is, well, we need to put your logo on something. Let's design your stationery system. Oh, by the way, you know what? We were looking at your brochures. You might need an update there. Really? Yeah, because we feel that your new logo needs a new message. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And by the way, once we have your business cards done and once we have your brochure done, we're going to have some content. You might want to think about updating your website. And then now, what's your plan for marketing? We're planting seeds for the next jobs. Every single job is planting seeds for the next job. You don't just say thank you and walk away. You plant seeds for the next jobs. Now, for them, they have a lot of different things, but mostly what they're showing is we have a brochure and we have a folder. How many materials are being placed into their folder right now? How many items? A lot? Yeah. Did they tell you how many?
They gave us a folder.
8 pieces. So the question is, how thick does the folder need to be? The question is, does it need a capacity fold? Some of you have no idea what a capacity fold is. Does it need an 8-inch spine? That means, does it have to hold a documentation 30 pages thick? That means, are you going to use it for contractual elements as well? Or maybe putting every single business flyer in it. Are you ready for that? How many people in here, by raise of hands, have ever built or created a pocket folder for a client before and got paid for it? I have. Cool. How many pocket folders exist in the world right now? Styles. There's single pocket one side, two pockets both sides, vertical pocket, horizontal pockets. There's special die cut pockets. Bet you didn't know that. Or maybe you did. What else does a pocket folder have to hold? And how does it hold? Let me ask you this on a very technical term. What's the number one problem with this folder? Engineering-wise, what's the number one problem? What's that? Paper's going to fall out. It's not functional. If I drop it once, that's going to happen. Is that professional? It's because it's not functional. If these pockets were vertical, oh, construction's vertical too sometimes. Just a thought. Anyways, if the pockets were vertical, it holds the sheets in there, and we turn it upside down, guess what does not fall out? Paperwork. These are purchased cheaply at an Office Max and Office Depot. Usually you can buy them for 50 cents on the dollar. The problem with it is that they're sticking this Avery label on it. And the sheets are actually costing 50 cents to $1 per sheet. Then they're putting it through a toner machine, a color toner machine that to replace the toner. How many people have ever purchased toner for their toner machine at home, their printer, and realize how freaking expensive is that? Okay? They're paying probably $2.50 to $3 a unit on this. And if they actually went through a production value of printing 4-color over a 4-color process of a pocket folder through 4-over or through a printer, it'd probably cost them about $1 a folder. Cheaper than this crap. But people don't think like that because they don't know any better. And you need to know better than them. That's your job. Your job is to know what to ask for. Your job is to study all the attributes that they're going to need and the elements that they're going to hold inside this. How it's going to be better. Your job was to know that these pockets were inefficient. The question was, do you realize that that pocket folder is inefficient? What do you mean? Well, do you know vertical pockets actually hold better? And you could save money if you print them in the thousands, if you print them by the hundreds, or just buy them one off at a time at Office Max. Oh, I didn't know that. Of course you didn't. That's my job, is to know it more than you and to help you out. Now, we did a pocket folder like that. My company did one for 3 Square. How many people heard 3 Square? The food bank? Okay. We pre-purchased folders for them that were blank. And we stuck a sticker on ours, but ours looked nothing like that. If you're a designer, you can create a cool label and stick it on the folder and make it look more professional. So the question is with your budget of your folders, have you considered options and opportunities to make your folder not only more effective, but look more aesthetically pleasing? Okay? So a folder is 9 by 12 to hold an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in it. What other pieces of what other forms of paperwork need to be put into this? Certificates, rack cards, 4 by 9, 3 panels, a business card, maybe a CD, maybe well, she had a notepad in there. The next question is, well, if I open this and I do vertical pockets and I have a slit here so I can put your rack card, I have a slit here so I can put your business card, and right here I had your paperwork, would that work for you? Have you guys thought about a belly band? Well, what's a belly band? How many people in here know what a belly band is? Good. And no, it's not nothing you put around your belly to dance with. Okay, a belly band's a piece of paper that slides around it, that holds it together. But you could do a label. And if this has vertical pockets, this label can stick right here, come around the outside as a band and onto the back side and come back over here and be a continuous label that has a cool design on it. So this sticker is expanded from just a square here to being wrapped all the way around the spine over here. It can be shortened too, and you can make it like a mini billboard. And take this simple, elegant red folder that looks cheap into making it look more well designed. The problem with these Avery stickers is that they're see-through. They're kind of parchment. Okay, so they're very opaque, or like I wouldn't say opaque, but the opacity you can see through them. You want them thicker, so they look more professional. If they use a higher end label or stock and put it on there, it'll look like they were professionally printed rather than just another label. Is the question that you need to ask the clients was, what about color? You have a brand standards guide. Corporate wants their logo either all black or red, white, and blue. But what's the question you need to ask about color?
I should ask if it could be put on other backgrounds or if it had to be on white. But
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't,
So can their logo be reversed?
that's,
Can their logo be put on another color? Can we make their logo embossed and not use red, white, and blue at all? Can we create texture palettes for you? Bless you. You have to ask constantly. Just like you're going to your house right now and you look at your bedroom and you're like, okay, I can go to Home Depot and wow, you know, I can paint this wall this color, this wall that color, and this wall that color. And then you go to the grocery store and you see an Architectural Digest and you open it up and you see someone putting stripes on their wall and going, oh, I can do that. All I have to do is just tape it out. Now I can make stripes on the wall. And you learn that now there's something more than just a plain color. You can put circle dots on the wall. Then you go to another store, like a hobby store, and realize there's these vinyl stickers that you can stick on the wall that makes it look like polka dot. And you don't even have to paint. Okay? Everything is a different opportunity for you. And you have to learn is what is your palette. And you didn't ask what your palette was. What's my palette I can pull from here? Can I do recycled stocks? Can I do soy-based inks? Do I have to do 4-color process? Pantone colors? Have you thought about new different ways of presenting your material before that you haven't done yet? In construction, what's the number one tool that construction people use? What's that? Hammer. What else? Tape measure. What else? Screwdriver. What else? Drill. I bet they use a pencil more than a pen. So why don't you do more pencils that are well known to construction workers, not the number 2 that you can get at any store, but the kind of pencils that construction people like to work to mark their wood where it needs to be cut. Or maybe make a little mark on a pole that needs to be soldered in half. Or anything for measuring. They'll normally have their own hammers and tools. But if you start getting some tools like that, that might be useful to them. Maybe the rack brochure and how it folds out will have a ruler on itself. So when it unfolds, it actually has a ruler that can actually be used for something. Maybe they will use it, maybe they won't. So you need to ask what tools have worked the best for you. What tools work the best for you? Just like the construction worker, for them you needed to ask what tools work best for them. So they said notepads. But we have pencils. We have to get inquisitive. Okay, when you shared your notepads with them, how many people really used it and asked for some back? You know, that's what Mason was saying, well, they're kind of flimsy. If you can make them a little bit better, that'd be great. Well, how you make them better is you use a thicker chipboard on the back stock and use better paper. But here's another thing. As a designer, you might want to think about is what's called a wraparound. A thick cover stock that not only goes on the back, but wraps around the front and locks its place so it protects it. And then you open it with paper and flip it over, and then you can use this notepad and then close it, like if it was its own professional notebook. This chipboard is too flimsy. It's cheap. Guess what? It's not sturdy enough. Construction people want sturdy. They want something that's cheap. They can still save costs on the paper, and trust me, this thin stock to a thicker stock, really doesn't cost much. It's like pennies. Maybe you can find a way to recycle it. How many materials do they send out a year? When a member joins, does the member get a kit? When you join something, do you ever receive anything?
Package,
Hell yeah, a package. A package of what?
production package to the company, promo kit or whatever.
Think about that. You might need a membership kit. That will, then they will get the pencil or the notepad or the t-shirt. When Treasure Island first opened, they had a pirate box. When you open up the pirate box was a shirt with a huge Jolly Jolly Roger symbol on it, the skull and crossbones. And everyone in town wanted that shirt. They made something useful. Guess what? When every brand new employee was wearing that shirt, it was marketing Treasure Island. If I was wearing ABC, I don't think I want the shirt. But if you came up with a cool phrase or something amazing, I built this, or whatever it is that deals with construction workers, something that's relevant to them, and then put the ABC hidden on the back somewhere, real tiny, I bet people will wear that. Construction workers always wear shirts all the time. Okay? Think about the things that they need. So we went from a folder to a brochure to a website to now a membership kit, and you didn't even ask about the membership kit. Now here's the thing. This day and age, when you give away your email to somewhere or anything, you get spam, and you normally don't even pay attention to your spam because you delete it. Even though that you might be giving away offerings. The best key factor is if they're going to drive membership, they need membership to be more fun and engaging. So you have to ask them, what is your next 6 months to 12-month event schedule going to look like? And if they go, I don't know, we have a problem. We need to know what the value is for membership. Just joining and becoming a member, you get a kit. Whoopee-doo. Oh, by the way, you get a 15 to 20% discount every time you buy at XYZ store. Why don't they have those relationships? Home Depot, Lowe's, or a lumber yard. Or maybe a welding place. They get a certain percentage off. What about those deals? What about with working with certain restaurants? And hey, we're going to meet here every 2 or 3 weeks and have a casual networking opportunity where we get happy hour drinks for a certain price where we can network with each other about new jobs that are available. Oh, by the way, we're going to have a lecture series that we're going to bring in these head honchos like Mason to come in and talk about how do you build a multi-million-dollar company? Or how do you survive through an economy like this and rebuild yourselves? And then it's up to you to design the invitations for each piece. You have to put yourself as if you're the owner. And how would you run the company? And most of you have not had experience running your own company yet. But most of you work for companies, and no offense, some of you complain about working for them because they're doing everything wrong because you're not happy. So write down all the things you're not happy about, and write down the things you would want to personally change if you ran the company. And offer that as an opportunity for them, how they can run this differently. Even if you're not in construction. Take the negative and flip it. And make it work for you. Try it out. Because sometimes what I found with my employees is they think they're so smart that sometimes I'll put the reins in their hands and let them run the company, and they don't have the chops to do it. They stumble and fall with their words, what they say to clients, will lose clients over it. They can't handle all the management aesthetics that come with the job. But they think they can run a better company. So I always tell them, please do so. Companies that are very, very successful or have an open door to all employees and allow all feedback to work through things. We have an open door policy, like if you have a gripe or a complaint, let us know. I want to know what ABC's gripes and complaints are. What's your number one gripe? I want to know the last person who quit your membership. I want their number and their name. I want to call them. I want to find out what's wrong. Now, not everyone's going to be like that person, but at least I get a different side of the coin, right? You got a different side of the coin with them just talking. Are you going to let me finish your sentences? You saw there's some personal conflict going on between the two. I'm sure there's some other stuff going on. That's okay. Businesses have that. You know why? Because we're all human. None of us are perfect. But those type of things in that communication efforts we need to know about so we can help them do their job. And her job is to get more members. So we need to make it look better for membership. So they need an Evite page where they invite people constantly and track them, their emails, build up a bigger database of events. And these events need to be super easy, come in and leave, no cleanup, no setup necessary, with a few materials. And they need recruitment material. And sometimes recruitment material is not the brochure. Maybe it's just a card to link to a website and let the website do the talking. Let her have a video on there sharing with you the benefits and the value of the corporation. A lot of people like those tangible things like a brochure. And those are great, but they always need to be reprinting. A website, just send them there. You can always update a website. You never have to reprint it. And the costs are a lot easier. So again, the goal is to find out what question is the most important. That's going to basically come to the marketing efforts of them as what's going to drive membership. On the board, I put a bio there. I was the founder of AIJ Las Vegas from the national chapter. I know what it's like to open a local establishment attached to a national chain. I broke all the rules. I didn't pay attention to their logo. I didn't pay attention to their branding efforts. I didn't care. Why? Because we had 0 memberships. We went from 0 membership to 72 members in 6 months with no programming. Just based on let's get together and talk. Why would that be important? Because designers are like this. I have my secrets, you have yours. If I share my secrets with you, well, that doesn't make me special anymore. No, you're wrong. How are you billing your clients right now? Well, I do the work and then I hope I get paid. Oh, so you're not billing like 30-30-30 or 30-30-40 or 50-50? What's that? Oh, well, if you came to our event, I'll show you. Oh, are you protecting your designs, intellectual property? Do you know how to trademark properly and go through the... Well, what's that? See, if you share information, people are selfish. Every one of you is selfish. I'm sorry, you are. We all are. You want to make more money, you want to have less time, you don't want to do that much work, you want to get as much knowledge as possible and outdo everyone else so you can just go hit Tahiti and have a drink. We all want that. But here's the funny thing. In this day in society, selfishness gets crushed. People work more like teams now. People share information more like now. People help each other out more than ever now. Networks are wide open now. Now people are going, well, if I keep sharing all this information, how can I monetize it so I can pay my bills? Well, the funny thing is the more people you help out, the more clients you're going to get. How interesting is that? That means the more people they're going to help, the more people are going to come to Mason for jobs, and the more people Mason can refer to new jobs and keep that market going. Because guess what Mason's interests are? If this economy builds and there's more businesses, I know I'm not going to build everything. And I want other companies just to thrive like me because there's enough to go around for all of us. Givers gain. That's a win-win concept. That works. So you have to ask those questions. Okay, so you benefit from this. Well, hey Mason, how do you benefit from this? How do you benefit from it? And you write those benefits down, coming from a successful person, because that will relate to a non-successful person. The non-successful person wants all the money so they can retire so they can go to Tahiti, remember? And right now I bet he can quit and go do that if he wanted to, but he's not. One of my personal clients right now makes $1 million a month. He doesn't have to work. But he loves doing it. Why? Because he loves making his team wealthy too. Wow, how cool is that? How would you like to make $1 million a month? Yeah, pretty nice, right? But then again, what would you do with it? Probably waste it. But the question is, these are the questions you need to ask, is what's beneficial for members? What's the benefits? And what's the number one problem why you don't have enough members? How about this one? What is your PR doing for you right now? Are you placed online or in boards or in calendars? Are you in newspapers, classifieds, Craigslist? Everywhere where construction people might be looking for jobs right now. Hey, you're looking for a job? You might want to network with us. We're looking for more people all the time. Where are you? Where can you be found? How many people ask that question? Oops. What's feeding them? Just word of mouth? That's one way. But we got to find out what their marketing efforts are. What other things are feeding into their membership? Where are their most members coming from right now? One person recruiting? Hey, Michael, come with me. Why? Because we're going to have some free drinks. It's going to be cool. I don't drink. Okay. Well, come because this guy's a multimillionaire and he has jobs. Oh, I'm coming. It's money, funny, you know, the drink doesn't do it, but the money does. That's what we have to ask. What is important? You play the role of the audience. What would be important to you? What's most important? The networking. Got it. So networking is one thing, but what else? How about benefits? What should the members be worried about right now? If they're an independent contractor right now, what's the number one thing that they need to learn about? How to protect their assets, workers' comp. Now, someone who, right now, there's a lot of you that may be working for a job but not be protected medically. So you have to worry about Medicare or Medicaid. What are they going to offer to help protect their membership? Do they have a plan? Do they have a program? Can they steer someone in the right direction? How about retirement? Most of the people right now struggling for money, they don't want to think about retirement. They want to think about how am I going to pay my cell phone bill and put gas in my car next week. Well, let me tell you, when you start making money, then you don't have to worry about that. But what about putting money away for retirement? Or what if you get laid up? What's going to pay for you while you're recuperating? Do they have OSHA classes? OSHA, not ocean. Cool. And how often are they attended? And do they do certificate training or not? Okay. How valuable is that for them? How good is that for them? Does that work for them? What else could they provide? What are members asking for? Come from the member side. What are members asking for? You can talk all day long about what ABC is all about, but maybe we need to know what the benefits of membership are. When I first came to CSN, a lot of people didn't know what AIJ was. What's AGA? I never heard of that before. That's the exact same question I asked back in 1996. I had no idea what AGA was. American Institute of Graphic Arts, been around for a long time, 100,000 members. There's guys on the board of directors, the same people that did the Obama logo, or people who did packaging for like Minute Maid or Coca-Cola. So you might think they might know something a little bit different than me. You know, the president right now, he's from Reno, Sean Adams. He's my mentor. And I ask him, how did you land Disney? How did you land The Gap? How did you land working for Robert Redford and doing the Sundance Film Festival? He teaches at the Arts Center in Pasadena. So I ask him, hey, what do you do to involve new curriculum and doing changes? And he gives me information. He mentors me. Knowledge is meant to be shared, not hoarded. So we need to understand that and how we apply that. So we need to know how we're going to share this information from them to their members and what's the best vehicle. Is it a business card? Is it a brochure? Is it a website? Is it events? Yes, 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 and yes. How are we going to get the word out? Who's going to be the face of the company? Is she going to be the face? Or is he going to be the face? Is Tanya going to be the face? Great. When's the last time you've been interviewed on Fox 5 Morning News? When's the last time, what publications are out there? You know, the business press usually comes out with a construction catalog. Anyone heard of the NAIOP? National Association of Industrial Office Products. These are people that go on bus tours that show Vegas what's available to rent and lease. Well, if they're doing renting and leasing, aren't they looking at land to buy too, to build? And if they're going to build something, don't you think they're going to need a construction crew? What kind of other associations can they do? What other groups are you connecting to? That's another question. How can we draw more memberships? How many membership drives do you do a year? Here's the biggest question. How many new members do you want? When we first started the AIJ group in Las Vegas, they said, how many members you want? I said, 100. Why? Because then I know we're successful. Why? Because I don't know any other group that's that big that fast. Let me tell you, when we built our membership on no programming, that's not a single event, just social events only, and we built it to 75 in the first 6 to 7 months, National said, what's going on in Las Vegas? Now, National's in New York. They have events every single month. Thousands of members, almost like even weekly, they have that many events. And they said, what's going on in Las Vegas? So much that literally the first year we were inception, that we formed the group, was the first year that the Venetian opened. They decided to have the national conference in Las Vegas. So they brought the world here to us for what we were doing. And not only that was awesome, because we don't have to travel anywhere. It's right here in our front yard. And they brought the world to us. It was their most successful attended event ever. Ever. I found this out from Chi Perlman's one of the board of directors that was in charge of that event. A lot of you don't know her name, but let me tell you, she recruits people to speak at TEDs, TED.com, not ed.com, but TED.com, the real thing. Okay? And she's the one that told me this. I was like, I just found this out in Minneapolis this year. I was like, really? Wow, that's cool. So something that I was a part of, brought National here, was the biggest attended event of all time. That's cool. So when I'm speaking from passion, it's because it's real. It's not fake. Because I know what it's like to open and start an organization, a nonprofit organization. I know what it's like to start a business. And you will too once you leave here, and if you decide to make your own freelance business open up or start something. So in order to do that, you have to ask yourself the very same questions. What do I need to get people interested in? You need material that's going to look good. Did anyone ask what looked good to them?
She commented, one of the
She commented on something?
on a hand or something. She's like, I really like that. She likes an elegant look.
She liked the hand posters. Okay, those are my professors, Jackson Bolts from Tucson. Those were designed back in 1989 without a computer. Okay, I put them up here myself. Okay, that's for orts. But see, when people look at it, it looks like art.
Yeah.
How funny. They're drawn to things. So you have to give a reference. When a client says, I want something modern looking, don't just accept that. For instance, what's retro to you? What's retro to you? A-track. Okay, that's retro. Cool. So if I was going to say, give me a retro design, what would be a retro design to you other than an A-track? A-track's a device, music. That's real. I'm glad you know A-track. That's awesome. So what's a retro design? Tell me what a retro design is for you. Okay, well, that's okay. Don't worry about it. What's retro to you, Michael? Retro. What comes to mind when I say retro design?
Something up to date or out of date.
Okay, look up Charles Spencer Anderson online. Different for retro. Charles Spencer Anderson, CSA, started Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy is the one who created Minute Maid and the Bahamas logo and Diet Coke logo. Charles Spencer Anderson, no one in here knows who he is unless you've had one of my classes. But for those that don't, how many people in here have ever heard of Classico spaghetti sauce? Okay, he designed the label. So now you know who he is. Okay, anyone here heard of Ted Turner Classic Movies? Yeah, he designed the logo. Okay, now you know who Charles Spencer Anderson is.
He designed the jar too, right?
He worked with, well, the jar was actually done by the Mason Jar Company, but he convinced them to use the Mason jar and build $1 million machine just for them, just to have for the classical spaghetti sauce, because they didn't have one exactly that size. But yeah. He told them to change their sauce because it didn't taste well. Smart designer. Very smart. You don't want to design anything that you hate or people's not going to like. Okay? So when you look at that, that could be retro. So retro could be Vans. Retro could be Ocean Pacific or OP or members only jackets. Retro could be old school Michael Jackson. You know, retro's retro. Retro's different by who you're asking because of their age. That's why I was really stoked that he said 8-track. You know, I say 8-track to my kids, they're going to go, 8 what? 8 Mile? They know what 8 Mile is. They don't know what an 8-track is. Okay, West 45. So these things we need to have an understanding. So you have to put yourself in the context of the client's shoes and understand them. What's modern to them may not be modern to you. So you visually understand the differences. What's classic to you may not be classic to them. So you need to find and navigate their vernacular. You need to understand their point of view. Let's see if I have this. Let me grab it from over here. I use this in class a lot. Okay? What's the predominant color that you see? Gray. So this point of the room sees one way, and this sees the other, yet I'm holding the same object in my hand. But it's a different perspective. If I flip it over, now they see the black, and they see the gray of the same thing. But that's what you need to see from both sides of the coin. Guess what? She does not represent the company. She's the salesperson of the company. But what she needs to represent is what the hopes, dreams, and wishes are for all the future to be members. The people that are, I need a job, I want the next job. Or the people that are, I have a job, how do I get a raise? Or the people who are like, I have a company with 4 people, how do I make it with 8? Or the people with 8 going, how do I go from 8 to 20? Or the people that say, I bill $2 million a year, how do I bill $10 million a year? We all are like that. Graphic designers are the same. Hey Dan, how much do you charge for a logo? You know, they always ask me that. How much do you charge? And I'm like, well, how much are you worth? The first logo I ever did, I charged $500 and I got $2,000 in bonsai tree training with it. So technically, the very first job I ever got, I got paid $2,500. The very first job, and I was still in college. Okay? One of the most expensive logos I ever did was the Mountain View Hospital, and that was $10,000. But there was a lot of work that was involved with it because it wasn't just about design. It was doing focus groups to convince doctors to keep the mountain logo inside the name because it had Mountain View was their name. And the reason why they didn't want a mountain inside their logo is because just down the street was Summerlin Hospital, and it had a squiggly mountain in it. And they didn't want to copy them. I told them they don't have to copy them, but we'll do a completely different logo for them, and it will be a mountain because your name is Mountain View. So you have to sometimes do studies and analytics and processes that account for money. And you have to build value. And to do that, you have to ask the right question. It's not like you just go out there with confidence like, yeah, $5,000 for a logo. Yeah, great. What do you have to show me that you're worth $5,000? What are you going to show me that I'm going to even write you a check for $5,000? How do I even know you're worth it? Good luck. Let me see your experience. Let me talk to your last 5 clients. Let me talk to one of the clients that fired you, please. I want to know what the worst of you is going to be. You need to know from both sides of the coin. That's going to help you with this project. First project is not make them look political. Make them look like construction. But then don't go to the trite. Don't go to the expected. What's expected of construction workers? What's the expected look and feel of construction? House. What was that? Yellow and black. What else? Hard hat. What else? Wood. Tools. Blueprints. Don't do any of that. Literally write down the top 20 things that are expected of construction workers. The crane, the steel, the welding cap, the big, bold, stenciled font.
Big steel boots.
Boots, worker boots, Wolverines, whatever. All that stuff, do not use. The construction lines with the slant. It's been done a lot before. Even Caterpillar uses it all the time. Look at the marketplace. Then do not use that. Why? Because it's expected. What's going to make them stand out? Maybe you come up with your own pattern, your own texture, and your own style that's appealing to the workers, that looks reliable, that has integrity, that looks like they're made of money. So when I go there, I know I'm going to get the right connections. So when you're asking these questions to them, you need to ask yourself the questions. What are the elements that are going to help you visually? Question number 1. What colors do you hate? We don't want pink. Or light blue. Are you open for neon colors? Oh, no. Oh, so you want primary colors? I guess. Are you open for watercolor? Well, what do you mean? Show them an example of watercolor where it's actually good. Are you open for illustrations? I don't know. What do you mean? Well, like that poster over there. It has a dragon on it. Are you open for type-driven? What do you mean? Everything with a bunch of typography all over it, with powerful words. If you had to describe ABC with 4 words, what would they be? What adjectives describe you the best? And if they said words that sound like it came out of a mantra for a Girl Scout, a Boy Scout troop, ask them how you can say that differently. We believe in integrity. Really? You have no members right now. How else could that be? I mean, you know, everyone says they have integrity. How about you do something different? We have knowledge. We have shared knowledge. We're open. We're different. We're unexpected. We're back. Find out what those words are and dig a little bit deeper and see if you can even change those words. See how you can rearrange them differently. Maybe you could just position them over certain colors or certain ideals. Charles Spencer Anderson, that I talked about retro, also does all the work for a company called French Paper. The paper over there says Frost Tone, the poster on the wall. That's done by Charles Spencer Anderson over there. That's done with French paper. It's done 4-color process, spot, and then also if you go over there and touch it, you're going to feel thermography. It's raised ink. It gives it a tactile quality to it. You'll get the same thing with our Las Vegas poster over there with the card on it. You can touch it and feel the ink raised on the sheet. So you have to understand these processes for them. If you're a construction worker, maybe you don't want a rack card. Maybe you make it smaller, like an invitation that can easily fit into their pockets rather than sticking out. If I stick this in my pocket right now, it's going to hang out. Maybe you make it a little bit shorter so it tucks fully in, but add a few more pages to it. Make it like a booklet. Maybe at the back of the booklet you put measurements in there for conversion ratios, something that they might need. Maybe it's a whole bunch of phone numbers of members that they can call and start networking right away. These are attributes you have to start thinking of. How many of your members right now currently own their own companies? How many of your members not only own their own companies but have an average of 8 to 10 employees? How many people are open for mentorship? Do you have a mentorship program? Is that valuable for them or not? These are questions you need to ask. Because from all these questions will help drive the visual a lot easier. Because maybe the piece doesn't need to have any information. This is who we are. No, how about this? This is what we can do for you. Because we're talking to a selfish world again. We're talking a world that's like, oh, there's no business. The economy sucks. Everyone's in foreclosure. No one's building. Really? Drive around 215 and go by the Red Rock Resort. They're building a whole new mall again. It was sitting there for a year as a steel framework, and now it's coming together. Look at the Rio. Right next to Rio is now a new hotel being built right now. People are starting to move again. They're starting to shake again. Investors are coming in our market right now and gobbling up space like it's nobody's business. Business is booming right now. People that didn't have jobs are starting their own jobs. They're crowdsourcing them too. There's more work now than ever for you and for them. The problem is the people that are complaining are the ones that just don't have a job because they haven't put themselves out there and they're not willing to network yet. And they don't know how to ask the right questions. You need to know how to ask the right questions if you want to get out there. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the same boat. So now that I've said a lot of answers for you and asked you questions, what other questions come up for you that you could have asked them? I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me 3 questions.
I wasn't here, but I would ask them, like you said, like things that would make things like the brochure, colors. You know, ask them about what colors they like. The last client, why did they lose them? Like, I don't know. You brought up a lot of stuff, man.
All right, so ask me something new. Give me a new question I haven't asked in this class yet. Give me something brand new, something that maybe what I said to you inspired you and said, oh, I didn't think about that. And oh, you know what? Here's a good question I want to ask.
What's the 5-year projection of the company?
5-year projection. Our 5-year projection is to gain more membership. Now what do you ask? What's the next question? How many members do they have right now?
Members do you have right now?
That's the next question I ask. I have 10. So how many do you want to have in 5 years? See, you have to ask specifically. See, you're just letting me get away with it. But you're not really asking me a question. You're just saying to say it. Now ask it for relevance. Dig deep. You know? Well, I like chocolate. Well, do you like dark chocolate or milk chocolate? Or you like white chocolate? You got to ask and get deeper.
We never asked them how much was the membership.
How much was the membership? How much does it cost? Do you have different levels? Do you have an introductory level? Do you have a professional level? Absolutely. Those are great questions. Are you willing to change the levels of membership? Do you do sponsorships where a company will pay for the membership and get, they do reimbursements? That's a great question. That's a good one. That's one. Give me 2 more. You talked about membership, So we have to ask, what in 5 years do you want to go from what to what? Well, I want to go from 100 to 500. Okay.
We can ask them, like, what is the process of how they distribute job information? Like,
what's the process of distributing jobs? She just shows up to people and drops pamphlets off and talks to them one-on-one, and sometimes they have little events. Mostly it's the golf tournament event, and they have a gala event. And they send out invitations. That's about it. Watch the video.
I was here.
And she was here. Ouch. You gotta stay awake and pay attention during the process. No harm against you, though. What?
What is the average life of their members that they already have?
What's the average life of their members? Do you die at 62?
How long does the average member stay with them?
Okay, renewals. How many people do you have a renewal program that allows for maybe when you renew at a discount rate, or if you buy 2 or 3 years, you get a better price? Almost like web hosting, right? If you buy 1 year, it's one cost, but if you buy 5 years or 10 years, it's a whole different cost. That's a good question to ask, because that could become a value question. Part of being a value of a member is if I pay for 5 years of this, I get certain benefits, so might as well just pay 5 years because some company could afford it, or maybe I could afford it at this time because I don't want to deal with it again for a while. What else?
What kind of rating do your company have?
What kind of rating?
Yeah.
So what do you mean by rating?
Like a Better Business Bureau rating.
So what are you rated right now at Better Business Bureau? How many people searched their name on the Better Business Bureau and looked them up? Now, do people, when you got construction jobs, do you look up people on the Better Business Bureau and see if they're good enough to work for?
Did I? No.
No. So is it relevant? Is it relevant to new members? Some people will, some people won't. Some people don't believe in the Better Business Bureau, some people do. I actually know the owner really well, George. He's a good friend of mine.
If the company sucks, You never find out through the.
Well, how else will you find out? You look them up online. And so, how many jobs? But if you hate a restaurant, where are you going to complain about it?
No, Bad Business Bureau.
Yelp. People online right now, if I want to be rated, I mean, if you really want to find out about me, just go to rateyourprofessors.com and check me out and see if I got a hotness rating. Okay? That's how people find out about the professors. Okay? To other professors, it's a joke, but hey, it's for students, they love it. But if you want to find out about how great a movie is, you go to Fandango and say people say must go because of ratings and reviews. You go to Yelp. So you go to forums, blogs. How many blogs are you on? How many blogs are people talking crap about you? When I was in New Jersey for a new client pitch, we were talking to this potential doctor, and he goes, "Oh, we have fantastic retention of clients." And I'm like, "Well, then why do you need us?" "Oh, we want more." Okay, I Googled him right on the spot. I go, "Yeah, you got 5 people said that you suck and you don't show up and you're late." What? He didn't even know that. People these days, they find credibility by looking online on their smartphones and tablets like that and find out how good or bad you really are. And they judge you by those opinions. So you need to find out what are those opinions saying and how do you get on those forums to counterattack them or give them information that they need. And unfortunately, Tanya's probably not even thinking about that because Mason was like, we're on Twitter, right? Or Tweeter? What was that? I think we're there. We're on Facebook, right? Who cares if they're on Facebook? Who cares if they tweet? Well, the question is what the comments are left on Yelp and any type of review forum. Yellow Pages. People are leaving these type of reviews. That's telling you honestly what's going on with the company. How many other areas are they talking about themselves in a forum setting so people know about recruiting? Those are questions. Those are good questions. Because people want testimonies. People want honest opinions from. Here's the great thing why I like Rate Your Professors. I got people that absolutely love me on there, and I got people on there that absolutely hate me. And I love the haters. Because they just tell exactly how they feel. And I don't care. I really don't. Because in my world, mass majority rules. I have 1 hater. I have 10 lovers. Mass majority rules. The hater had an issue. Their true colors shine. Let it shine. So for them, how many people are supporting them? How many people like them? What's beneficial to new members? How are you going to recruit new members? Those are the questions that we need to ask to get into how do I make this look and feel something useful? What's modern to them? What's retro to them? Does letterpress work? Does tactile feeling of printing work better than digital, cheap 4-color process? Maybe they need to use thicker paper cover stock. Maybe they need something that's embossed a little bit more that looks like it's made construction-wise. Has different gears or wood parts or whatever it might be, or some type of building built so that when it's letterpressed in here, man, that says a statement, doesn't it? Maybe if it's done a little bit thicker than this flimsy paper, maybe that makes a bigger statement than all this. Hi, where do I vote? That's a lot of writing. How many people in here have ever heard of the artist David Carson, the graphic designer? Look him up, because if you're a graphic designer, you need to know his name. Okay? He took all the rules of typography and just destroyed them. When people said, he was the editor and designer for Surfer Magazine, Ray Gun Magazine, when everyone says, do not put type in the gutter, he put it in the gutter. When he got a bad written article from an editor, he highlighted the whole thing and made the whole thing into dingbats. He changed the font so it was nothing but symbols. He said it looked better because it was better than the writing. When he didn't have enough room from a story, he doubled it on a page. He broke all the rules. The reason why he broke the rules is it was very simple why. His audience. They're surfers. Half of them don't even freaking read. They surf. They don't care about words. They care about, is the waves up right now? Because I want to go hit the waves. So what he did is he made a magazine beautiful and aesthetic and like art that surfers would put on their walls, every single spread. He wouldn't care about the writing, because most of them were illiterate anyways. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you're a construction worker, literally, or if you're anybody, do you really want to read all that? I don't. I read a lot. I don't want to read all this. Why don't you make it simple? How do we cut the corners here? Here's a question. How much of this can I trim? What? That's a great question, guys. How much of your content can I axe because it's too much? I need to add some white space here. And right now you got so much verbiage here, it actually looks like an instruction manual that I really don't want to read. To put it in perspective, how many times do you get something that gives you the instructions, how do you put it together, and you throw it aside and just try to figure it out because you just don't want to read it? I've done it. A lot of people do it. So how do you simplify, simplify, simplify? Simplify the experience. Not saying that some pieces actually need a lot of content. That's true. But when you're just starting out in a relationship, do you really want to know all the baggage right up front? I mean, let's put things in perspective. I'm married with 5 kids. When I met my wife, she has 4 kids. She's been married twice before. Technically, she's got baggage. She's got problems in the past. She's been married before. But she's cute. So I married her because she's cute and I love kids. All the baggage didn't matter. Now I have an amazing wife and we have a child of my own. So, but if I knew all the baggage beforehand, would I still be married to her right up front? Like seriously, if you start dating someone and they go, yeah, I just got out of jail and yeah, I'm okay now. I had a problem with loud music and sledgehammers, but I'll be great with you. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, you usually will run to the nearest exit. People don't want to know the baggage right off the bat. You start off a relationship with the best of you. The best clothes, the best grooming, the best words, the best way you can woo them over. And then when you get comfortable, then you can fart around them. Literally. And you can do it and it's okay. That's what relationships are about. They want to learn about the baggage later. Sometimes we have to look really good up front so then we can start letting off the mask a little bit. And for material starting out, you want to do the same method. At first you want to entice them with the wow factor, the sizzle of the steak, and then get to the steak. Now, granted, I know this is being recorded and stuff, I do love my wife. She's amazing. She's awesome. And I married her for her qualities because I knew exactly who she was right up front because she went through so much. She makes me a better person being with her. She makes me care more. She makes me forgive more. She makes me more patient. And that's a great relationship. And when you're talking about these people, how are they going to be a great relationship with their members? What are they going to do for them? Well, if the market's looking for a job, they need a job bank. Do they have a job bank right now? Does National allow them to have a job bank? Probably not, because it has to be regulated. But if they had their own area for a job bank and referred people to that link and helped them out through, they're providing another value system, something that's worthy of someone looking for a job. If they worked with mocked interviews and mocked opportunities of how to present yourself, that could help their membership greatly. Maybe if they could provide to their leadership people, leadership retreats, where they get owners of the business to kick back and have things like at a conference table and everything that's said at the conference table stays at the conference table, but they can work out problems that they're all facing. You know, owners face problems too. Like, how am I going to create $150,000 next month to make payroll? You know, sometimes we don't look at owners of the company like that. We just look at them, oh yeah, they're a boss. They're never here. They're always golfing. Or they're always out doing something. Really? They started this business. They worked 20 hours a day, probably for the first 3 years this company was. Where were you? You got to put yourself in the perspective of the owner. How much time and effort they put in to make that company happen. How much sacrifices they had to make to keep that door open. How many sacrifices they have to do. They have to make enough money not only for their salary, but for yours. That's pretty selfishness, right? How many people do you make enough money to support? or willing to give out? How much of your, maybe if you made $100 that you're willing to give $90 toward and you keep 10? Okay? These are things we need to think about. Value inside the brochures. Value inside their offerings. So we talked about questions to ask is what's outdated, what needs to be axed, what appeals to the market. Is poker really relevant to them? They need to find out from their members. You need to go construction forums and see if they're really interested in poker. Maybe they're interested in other things. Maybe they're interested in concerts. Maybe they're more interested in gatherings, get-togethers. Who knows? Maybe it'd be best for them is to rent out 2 houseboats for a weekend, bring all your family and friends out. We'll provide the hot dogs, the hamburgers, and the sodas, no alcohol. And you guys can have a family day for your families for those that can't normally afford this. And you can network with us, so maybe you can get a job and support the family that you're bringing out. That would probably be worth it. You got to put yourselves in the shoes of the potential member. Make it valuable to them. So that's the questions you needed to ask Tanya and Mason is, who is your potential member? Not your current member. Who's your new potential member? Where do I find them? Where do I ask questions to them? That's where you dig deep. And you can see from those questions how now new marketing ideas pop up left and right. And we haven't even talked about visuals. Other than red, white, and blue looks like politics. And we're spot on with that. So maybe we want to think about one-color applications for them so they don't look like a political campaign. And if they send that out a certain type of the year, I guarantee you'll be thrown away because they think they're re-electing some judge from some district. Or a new senator or a new governor or whatever. People get turned off by politics. Yeah, they're very patriotic, got it. But there's other ways of doing patriotic stuff. Yes, they have the American flag. Who cares? We all know we're in America. Got it. I'll go back to maybe the worker posters, like the Rosie Rooters, the lady flexing the arm. Maybe we'll go with the guys doing the riveting or something different. Maybe something a little bit more Art Deco. Something that goes back to, we're putting America back to work. Maybe that's a little bit more invigoration for them. Show them some art. Go back to the art history of America when like Roosevelt or Eisenhower started doing these worker programs for the people. And they started getting people to work in parks and start building roads and start building railroads again. Start looking at those for inspiration and show them and say, what's your thoughts on this? Now, if you go to Hoover Dam right now and see some of those Art Deco art pieces and the bronzes and the statues, those are to evoke prosperity and hope in something different. And that was built during a time when the country really didn't have any money or jobs. It made something new. Did I miss something? They're laughing back there, so. Yeah, it's pretty funny, isn't it? They're looking at the professor thing now. Cool. Well, welcome to the class. All right. So we asked a lot of questions here. We know about research and development. So now the draw the conclusion is this, is that your conclusions right now need to be understanding of, I am going to be a new member. What do I need? What do you need? I need a member kit. I need literature. How am I going to make this work? What paper options do I have? Some of you don't even know what the different paper stocks are out there. How many people in here know with raise of hands what DTC means? One person. Okay? That's interesting. How about if I said 130 pound? What does that mean? See, you guys don't even know about printing yet. What's DTC?
Double thick cover.
Double thick cover. You have to know what the difference is between text weight and cover weight is. And some of you don't even know what that is. Okay? Some of you might know, have heard of Pantone, right? Or PMS? Maybe? No? Don't know what Pantone is? Cool. How many people in here saw a foil specifier? Like Aster? Okay? Ouch. We need to start understanding these things so we can ask the clients these questions. Foils are spot in color and they give a shine to it. You can get it in gold or silver in different colors. Papers come in different weights. In the back of the room on the top shelf up there are paper sample books. That's just one stock. There are hundreds of paper mills that have paper samples in there to give you an understanding of what thickness is and thin, what the paper stock does. Does the paper have texture to it? Does it have linen? Is it smooth? Is it white? Is it a certain color? So you can understand the nuances. If it's too thick, it won't fold properly. That means if you get a custom cut right here and do a score on the side, it will crack. So you need to understand paper nuances and get dummies made. You can get paper samples for free from printers, and some printers will actually provide you a folder, blank, for you to work with so you can understand if this is the right folds that you want, the right creases. But you're going to have to deconstruct these things and put them together. And there's some companies out there that do nothing but print folders. Do you want a template for a folder? Go to folderexpress.com. They have thousands of folders for you to choose from. They're very inexpensive to print from too and make. Find out the different folders that are available to you. Find out the different papers that are available to you. It's kind of like this. Okay, guys, I'm giving you a kitchen and a restaurant. Do you know where the knives are? What are knives? Oh. Can you make me a soup? Well, what do you want in the soup? I don't know. Make me something. Where's the kitchen? As professors, that's what I have to deal with. I'm like, if you don't know where the pots and pans are, or the knives are, or even how to make a soup, get out of the kitchen. Literally, get out. You got to dive in and know everything about this field and know a lot about it in all the different regards. And to do that, you have to ask a lot of questions. Even go to the professors and go, hey, what other questions should I be asking right now? Because I'm clueless. That's okay. That's acceptable. We can work with that. We can't work with this. That's non-compliance. We need you to participate more by asking more questions and understanding these things. Here's a question. Did anyone ask this one? Who's your current printer? Why would that be relevant? Who prints their business cards right now? Who prints their folders right now? Who prints their brochures right now? Do they have a good working relationship with that printer right now? Do they have credit with them? Am I going to work with that, or do I need to work with another vendor of yours? If I'm going to open up a kitchen, I want to have the right people for the right food. If I'm going to make a soup, I want the people with the right chicken stock, beef stock. I want the best farm vegetables, organic. I don't want to buy it from the store. I want fresh from the farm with no Montecito spread all over it. Thank you. Oh, I didn't think about that. That's what you need to think about. You need to think about those things. What are my limitations, or what are my opportunities? Do I need to create these opportunities for you? First things first. They need a folder. They need a brochure. So you need to ask them that question. Underneath the text, what is outdated? Here's the number one thing that was outdated at CSN. Welcome to GRC 103. We teach Quark, Photoshop, and Illustrator, and InDesign. No one uses Quark anymore. We got to update ourselves. Okay, now we're updated. Now we're Adobe Creative Suite. Times change, software changes. All the time. We have to adapt all the time. So do you. You need to adapt by learning the field. In learning the field, you ask questions. Who's your number one competitor? Do they have other members that are competitors? What I found out is that Mason was on 2 different boards. Almost 2 different things, but are they competition or not? And what are they using? And if they don't know, you got to go find out. You got to contact them. You got to see if you can pick up a membership kit. That's your job. So that you can start testing your designs to it. Helpful? Yes, no, maybe, whatever. Wake up. Energy drinks, passed out. Good. Lightning bolt strike. Okay. All right, this is awareness training, guys. I hope that you are writing down a crap load of questions. Because these are the questions every single day, every single opportunity, you need to ask your clients or potential clients. Who am I reaching? Why am I reaching them? How am I going to reach them? What can I use? Can I not use? Hey, if I know the rules, I'm going to break the rules. Is that okay? Oh, you can't do that. What if I did? What are the ramifications of me breaking national rules? Oh, they'll pull the charter. Okay, do you want that to happen? Is that okay? No. Okay. We might not go there. Not going to promise anything yet. CSN right now does not allow us to upload websites because of intellectual property problems. But there are professors uploading sites right now so people can see what we do. I'm a program director. I got a digital portfolio up right now. They can tell me to take it down anytime, but right now I'm marketing the school until they get their stuff together. Why? Because this school needs to promote itself. We need to show the work of our students and what they're doing so other people understand the value of it, of what we're providing them. Same with them. They need other platforms to provide a visual aesthetic so they can promote themselves because you know what? They have something good to offer. They have connections like no one else. That's valuable. Put yourself in their shoes, ask those questions. Put yourself in the shoes of the owner and go, what would I do with this? And ask questions from that point of view. Does that help? Okay. From the marketing, then you can go on to the visuals. My golden rule, if you really want to be original and out-of-the-box thinking, golden rule is write down all the things that are trite and what I call cheesy, just the cheesiest visuals you can think of for construction, and do not ever use them. Ever. For instance, yellow and black. Don't use yellow and black. Don't use a construction hat. Do not use a crane. Do not use a welder's cap. Use something else. Something that they don't expect. If not, shock them a little bit. See how that works. I'm not asking for you to do pinup dolls and calendars here. I'm saying doing something a little bit different, maybe with textures or type or something they didn't think about before. Blueprints are typical, but maybe you do something different with a blueprint. Maybe you do something different that looks a little bit more modern, sophisticated. Do something that you would actually, if it fell onto a ground at maybe a bar that they were having an event, a gathering, and that you were nothing in construction, you looked at it and go, wow, what's this? This is kind of cool. What would make you pick it up? That's your job. That's your responsibility is to make the world beautiful. You know, we hear this all the time on television, radio, you know, making the world a better place. And you're all like, yeah, whatever, bull crap. No, it's actually, seriously, your job to make it beautiful. And you have the power to do so. You're the genie in the lamp and you're the lamp. What are you going to do? I say take that advice, look what everyone else is doing, don't do it, and approach it from a methodology as how would you make it look beautiful that you would want to be a part of it. That's when you have a great piece. Okay. Here's my big one. Any questions? Yes?
Where can I contact you?
Where can you contact me? Front of the board's my email. What else? And honestly, are literally going to come to and get an associate's degree in graphic design, web, videography, or photography. Raise the hands. Cool. Now, keep your hands up high. Of those hands up high, how many of you are part of a design club? Like AIGA? One.
Not yet.
Not even yet. No is no. Yes is yes. Yet does not count. Okay? That's interesting. That's interesting. It's like if you want to learn more about a field, you want to dive into that field as much as possible. Become an intern. Become a detective. Find out the ins and outs. Find out if it's something you seriously want to know about. Start internship with a design firm. Learn more about how they work because everyone works differently. Learn from networking. Because the internet is not a studio. The internet is just a vast library. You cannot understand the dynamics of how people work.